to look for or to look at. There's surface level communication, and then there's heart level communication. Surface level communication is what we call transactional. Okay? So I want to give you a few words when you leave out. Like, are you transacting me? Like, are we on heart or are we on surface? Heart level communication is what we call transformational. And transformational is obviously where we want to go. So here's an example of what I mean by transactional. It's kind of what happened between Miss Lois and I. How was school? Fine. Take out the trash. Go and complete the task, right? It's typically a one-way exchange, okay? Transformational communication is, what's the best part of your day? I noticed you seem stressed. Want to talk? Two-way, engaging with somebody. So I'm going to ask Miss Lois again. Instead of the thing that we're used to doing when we see somebody and we just kind of do it like autopilot, I'm going to ask, what brings you joy? Ah, your family. You know what? My family brings me joy too. And actually, today is my late grandmother's birthday. Yes. And so I celebrate her today. And I'm grateful to meet another person who loves their family. All right. So if I were to show you a visual, I would show you 4 different windows, okay? Because communication can only go so far as we're willing to be open and we're willing to share. And sometimes that takes trust, and sometimes that takes vulnerability, okay? And so the first window, or if it was a window pane with 4 different sections, the first section would be the information that we share. So right now you can see me. We're standing here in your lovely church, and we all are sharing in that information. But there's also information I know about me that you don't know about me, okay? And that also goes into how we communicate, what we communicate. Then there are things that you might notice about me that I actually don't notice about myself, okay? There may be something that I do, especially in our families. You know, you observe, and sometimes we have blind spots where we don't know that, you know, we chew real loud when we eat or something, right? Okay. And then there is this area, that 4th area, it's information that none of us actually have. And that's why communication is important. And so if I were to take that visual and I were to draw a circle around one of those sections, which one do you think I would as the most important? So let me review. So we have the first pane. That's the information that we share, that we both understand or that we all know. Then there's the stuff I know that you don't know. Then there's the stuff you see about me that I don't know. And then there's the stuff, number 4, that's hidden from all of us. So which one do you think is the most important to focus on? That first one. Yes, we want to bring as much information as we possibly can safely, right, into that first pane. All right. So in order to do that, we have to look at what are some of the things that threaten communication. And one of the things that Pastor Ebony asked me to do is to think about communication, connection in the modern day family. So what's one thing that you all see can get in the way right off the bat with communication within a family now? Yes. The digital world. Not only is it the phone and the technology, but it is not knowing how to actually be present with each other anymore. Because we're so used to being present in a technical or a non-physical world that sitting across from somebody and giving them eye contact might feel uncomfortable. Yeah. Because there's actually, the eyes are the window to the soul. There's so much that you can find out and know about a person just by looking at them. Okay. All right. What else? What else might be a threat to us being able to connect in terms of communication? Okay. Yeah. Not having nothing in common, and what did you say? Appearance. Okay. Tell me more. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Right. Our body language. Yes, the way that we hold ourselves, or what's happening in terms of what may be going on with us physically. Absolutely. So I want to go over a couple of things just to make sure. So screens have us competing for attention. And a lot of times we may find it difficult to say, I want you to pay attention. I want your undivided attention. I want you to pay attention to me. Also, multitasking during conversations. Have you ever been around somebody, you are out to eat or whatever the case may be, and every 5 minutes they're, right? And so, and let me just put it to you this way. Because of the convention and the convenience of being able to be reachable all the time, we will mistake and miss connection with each other because we're telling ourselves that everything is an emergency, or everything is urgent, or I've got to get this or reach this, or whatever the case may be. All right, so another threat to our connection is talking at each other versus with each other. Okay? So give me an example. Can somebody think of a time when that may have happened to them that they want to share? Okay. So a lot of times, how many of you are parents in here? Okay. Yeah. Okay. If you are up early in the morning and it's time to go to work and time to go to school, are you talking with or at? At, right? Yes, most definitely. Okay, so you know exactly what I'm talking about. All right, so I want to make sure that I leave room for questions. But here's the last thing that I want to talk about, and that is overwhelming schedules. That's another enemy to our connections. Okay, every family member pulled in all kinds of different directions. No room for there to be just being with each other or being spontaneous. Maybe efficiency, doing tasks, or just figuring out, okay, this is what we got to do. Okay, get in here, take your bath, eat your food, or let me answer these emails, or whatever the case may be. And so we are busier than we have ever been in the history known to man. And that busyness makes it more difficult for us to take time for each other. Okay. And so I like to say this to my coaching clients, and that is in the absence of intention, we resort to our automatic way of being. So what I'm inviting you to do is to hear what I'm saying. It may seem simple, but we know the simple things confound the wise. So I'm asking you to think about what I'm saying and hone in on any area that you think, man, you know what, I could do something different in this area. And so I'm asking you to create an intention around maybe being less transactional and being more heart when you are interacting with people. Okay, so I always get this this name. I pronounce it wrong. It's say it. Epictetus says this quote: "We have 2 ears and 1 mouth, so that we can listen twice as much as we speak." Okay. Song of Solomon 2:14. "Let me see your face. Let me hear your voice. For your voice is sweet and your face is lovely." So what I want you to do is I want you to turn to somebody, and even though it might be uncomfortable, I would like for you to give them just a brief moment of eye contact and say, "It is nice to see you tonight." Yeah. Yes. And let me just say, whenever I came in and I got to see you all doing the icebreaker activity, I was like, oh, yeah, this is going to be a good bunch. Yes. So I really appreciate you all for having me, and I want to bring Pastor up. Let me just say, figuring out how to narrow a topic like this down in 15 minutes, I could probably talk about it from different angles and different ways for the rest of the evening, but I want to make sure that we get a chance to talk. And I really am interested to hear what questions you might have. Okay? Yeah.
Good deal. Let's clap for what we've received so far.
Yes.
The reason why I'm doing this session, and this session is very near to me and very dear to me, is because a lot of times we want the church to fix the family. We're going to drag out of church, right? Not knowing that healthy people make up healthy families, which in turn makes a healthy church, right? A healthy church is only as healthy as the family units that are in there. So we want to speak to that. And can you speak to that for me for a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. So, when it comes to healthy family dynamics, a healthy family is a family that everybody understands their roles and everybody is contributing to the family. So I have done some work around healthy family relationships and those dynamics, and in a lot of ways there are internal things that can disrupt the family, and then there's external things. And I heard Pastor Ebony talk about you might be like, don't talk about my sister, right? But then there's some sort of conflict there. And what I recognize is that a lot of times families are not healthy because we sweep things under the rug. Like, we don't actually deal with the issues that might be there, and we may do that because we're not actually equipped. And so one of the things is to really learn and to employ ways to be able to talk about and communicate openly, even if it's uncomfortable. And so a healthy family dynamic is a family that can talk about their issues and also recognize when maybe there's support that is needed. Yeah.
So you don't have to just say, "Oh, that's just Uncle Willie."
Correct.
All right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
We just excuse it. Oh, that's
Yes.
just Aunt Susie being Aunt Susie.
Yeah. Yes.
Not knowing that there could be something else there.
Yeah, there can be something else there, and having the courage to be able to address something with, even there is a way, even respectfully, to address something with an elder, right? Or with your parent. I've definitely had to do those kinds of things. And so how you go about doing that, sometimes it's a matter of writing it down first, or really kind of having a clarity of what it is you want to say and why you want to say it. And what I've found is rather than being accusatory or blaming, it's important to be able to give an example. The other day when you did this is how that made me feel, and so forth and so on. Yeah.
Yeah, good. I noticed earlier you mentioned something about communication. Because communication is definitely big in the family structure, the family unit. So what I want to know, because sometimes our homes can be full of people and can still be the loneliest place. Even with kids and whatever, it can still be the loneliest place. So what are some, and I say practical ways, what are some practical ways? Because we need, I think, as practical as it is, I think we'll be more apt to employ them in our homes. What are some practical ways and some practical things that we can do to foster communication especially between us and our children?
Yeah.
What are some practical things that we can do?
Yeah, so when it comes to children, depending on the age of the kids, let me just survey. Do you all have children that are under 18? Some of you? Okay. All right. So for a child that's under 18, even if they may be in their teens and they act like they don't want to spend time with you, create regular, consistent opportunities for you all to spend time together, whether that is playing games or doing something that they may be interested in. I know you may not want to play video games, but just sit in there for 15 minutes. Sit beside them while they play and do your best to be interested, right? Because children, their mode of how they move through life is through play or through activities, okay? So that's one way. Now, I have worked with parents who do not like to play, okay? They're like, but I don't like playing, And when you're busy, right? And you've been at work all day, and you got to cook, and you ran to the grocery store and all that. You're like, play what? Right? And so when I run across that, I say it is quality over quantity. Okay? So what that means is that even if it is, a quality 10 minutes that you spend some time, so making sure that you do that. That's one thing. The other thing is that every interaction cannot be discipline. Okay? So every interaction cannot be disciplined. And this is I actually feel the need to say this. All children's behavior is trying to meet a need. So even if they're cutting up, right? One thing to do is to pull back and say, okay, what is this child needing? Are they tired? Are they hungry? Are they hurting? Are they something? Okay? And so really seeing where that need is and making sure that all your interactions are not about discipline.
Good. That's good. That's good. You said something very key, because children should not feel like punishment.
Yes.
It should not feel like punishment, and it should not feel like interrogation.
Yes.
It should not feel like because a lot of times you can get a lot more information from them just sitting there and being with them.
Yeah.
Because sometimes one conversation will lead to something else.
Yes. Another thing, and I know we're Christian, we have our walk. It's also helpful to remember that you were 12 or 13 and actually share, hey, when I was your age, I struggled with this, or this is how I relate is going to be very helpful as well.
Yeah, because children aren't blind.
That's right.
Because you'll get on them for doing something in their head. They're like, I just saw you do it.
Yeah, like, wait a minute.
You just did it yesterday.
Remember when you was mad and you let something come up? Yeah. What?
Like, what you get on me for? You just did. I got it from you, as a matter of fact. So I think being cognizant and really being sensitive to that, I think it really helps, and it will really foster that type of communication. And along with that, like I said earlier, we've seen conflict between families or in family units all through the Bible. Mm-hmm. It's always a constant. As long as you have family, there's going to be conflict in some way, some form, between brother, sister, however that looks. So what are some good key practical things that we can do to help resolve conflict resolution? Because what we don't confront, we pass on. Mm-hmm. So you'll be mad, and then you pass it on to your children, and they're mad at something they don't even know about.
Yeah.
They don't even understand.
Mm-hmm. So you're asking that question, and it actually leads me to want to talk just a minute about the baggage that we can bring into relationships, even as a parent or as a spouse. We all have experiences or things that we went through, and sometimes the way that we were parented is maybe there's some residue or some hurt or something, or maybe we were neglected and we don't know. And so being able to really be honest with yourself first about maybe some areas or some wounds that you may be acting out of, I think is important. Number one. Number two, in terms of resolving conflict when it arises, I think it is important to make sure that you have an opportunity to cool down. I literally had a client tell me the other day she had some family come in, and not only did they get into a verbal, but they got some physical stuff going, right? And so sometimes we respond to each other out of anger when nothing is productive. Because let me just say, when we are that upset, clear thinking goes out of the window. So you have to make sure that you have had a chance to cool down and think about it. So it may mean taking time or taking a break and then really coming back and giving each other the opportunity to both be heard on either side, or if there's more than one more than two, that everybody can have an opportunity to be heard, and maybe even making sure that you reflect back what is being heard. So I think that, shameless plug, I think that sometimes these things might need some additional support. Sometimes if you don't feel heard, or you can't get your point across, or you feel like you keep going around the same issue over and over again, that might be an indication that you need some external support, like therapy or a counselor or whatever the case may be, and spiritual counseling as well.
And there is nothing wrong with therapy.
Yes.
And not a thing wrong with therapy. Therapy is not taboo anymore. It's needed. It gives you that outlet.
Yeah.
You know, you can say things with your therapist that you can't say to anyone else, right? And sometimes you have to just be able to get it off of your chest, right? Get it out of you. Get it out of you, because if not, it's going to leak out anyway.
Yes.
It's going to leak out anyway. You'll be talking about something and all that just start coming out, right? So it is good. And I thank God for therapists. I thank God for counselors that gives us that space to be vulnerable. Because some of us, we always a strong friend. We're the strong brother, we're the strong sister.
Yeah.
We're the one who has all the answers. And sometimes the one who has all the answers, they need to go to somebody too.
Yes.
Oh, Lord have mercy.
Most definitely.
You know, anything wrong, they go to you. Anything happening, they go to you. Anything need to be resolved, they go to you. So not only you carrying the stuff that and I'm not saying that they don't know that you're dealing with stuff, but you have to carry your stuff, and now you got to try to resolve, you know, what Ray done did, what Ray did now, you know. So it's a lot. So yes, counseling and people who are experts in this field, it's good. It can be a game changer in your life. It'll lower your blood pressure.
And sometimes people will come to me and say, all right, so am I wrong? And I'm like, yeah, you wrong. But it's okay. This is your safe space to be able to be wrong without there being a high stake of somebody reminding you of it later, and we can work through it, right? So sometimes therapy, counseling can be a place for you to have that space to kind of see yourself in a way that may not feel as comfortable when you're with your loved one. And then sometimes therapy can help you to understand what is going on with a loved one. Because sometimes people are acting out of their pain and we're taking it personally. That's another point I would make in terms of resolving conflict, is to really make sure that you are looking at areas where you might be taking something personal that's really not about you. It may be coming towards you, but it really isn't about you.
That's good. Listen, at this time, we want to open it up. If you have any questions for Ms. Burrell, this is your time. You can ask a question. Feel free to ask a question. You have.
Thank you for your question. And I just want to say, I did invite my colleague. We actually started something called Healing Kingdom Connections. And this is a great opportunity. So if she wants to chime in on a question, I just wanted to let you know. Her name is Melissa McDaniel, and she's a licensed professional counselor as well. So, yes. Yeah. 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 And what's your name? Zanita, thank you for your question. I think that's a very powerful question and a very important question. And so while I don't profess to really have the answer, what I would say is that we all have to do our part, and we have to start somewhere, right? So, because I can completely relate to what you're saying in terms of like we're starting to lose sort of that big mama house, everybody gather feeling, and I think that it's important to put some intentionality around that. So, in terms of how to do it, it. I hate to say this, but it's one of those things where the person that recognizes the person that recognizes that there's a problem is probably
Tag.
the person that might have the anointing to solve the problem. Yeah.
Tag.
So I'm just sensing that if that is something that really is a concern for you, then it might be something for you to think about. Now, here's a couple of things to put into your space. Is that maybe the tactic that you use may have to be different so you can reach the younger people, right? So, before we were okay with just going to a park and and barbecuing and jumping double dutch, and y'all seem like y'all some double dutch jumping people. So I'm just saying, so that's probably not going to be it. But I wonder if you had a TikTok contest party, if perhaps you might get a little bit more, you know what I'm saying? Maybe around, I don't know where the fans at, challenge, but
Boots
really
on the ground.
kind of, yeah. What did you say?
I said, you put them boots on the ground.
Yes. If you know what I'm saying, like something that really compels them in terms of what they're interested in is a place to start. And that would start to close the gap. Because I do think that there is a gap there. And if they find out that, you secretly want to learn how to do a TikTok dance, they might be like, well, we need to show up and teach her how to do that.
Cool.
Yeah.
Cantice, I like what you said right there, because especially that younger generation, they'll be more apt to do it if it's a want to,
Right.
rather than a have to.
Yes.
They don't respond well to have tos. Y'all got to go to Big Mama. Oh, man, we don't go to that.
Yeah.
Man, we don't want to do that. You know what I mean? We don't want to do that. So you have to really, I think, especially as adults, have to really, and not make them and force them, but because the key is togetherness. The key is getting them together. So if you keep that as the goal, so saying, y'all gonna do it, they know how to rebel. They can rebel real good. Everybody got AirPods. It'll be 12 folk in a room, and it's just quiet. Right? They all in there, hoodie. Yeah, 100 degrees and a hoodie on.
Yes.
That's their uniform. That's their outfit. Hoodie and AirPods.
Yes. Yeah.
But if you make it a want to, and really, really see what those interests are, you can get a result so much more fulfilling.
Yeah.
And that fosters what you want to see passed down to the next generation and the next generation, because the truth is we are losing some of that. We're losing a lot of that. we're losing a lot of that, a lot of that family togetherness and the intergenerational, aspect. We're losing a lot of that. So, yeah, people like you, Zanita, who's outgoing and wonderful personality and all that good stuff. Yeah. You
Yeah,
could
I
be the
already
one to
know.
help you, right?
I
Did you
want
feel
to
that?
come. Yeah,
Right. I
like,
want to come to your TikTok. Teach me.
yes.
So you can really get some things done, and just have to be wise in your approach. Anyone else?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. They'll be like, you coming?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yes. Absolutely. And push past that discomfort. My nephew, he's 25. He just was in an accident, and I wanted to check on him, so we FaceTime, and it was a little bit like, well, we don't really be talking, but guess what? He heard all about my house, and I showed him, and like, no, I'm gonna check on you, and I don't care. You can say and all that, and I'm still gonna we gonna talk today. That's what we gonna do. Yeah. Mhm. 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 I see. So, I appreciate that question. I think that's a very good question because, and I don't know, could everybody hear what she asked? Okay, so what she's asking is sometimes you can be in a dynamic with someone and you're trying to communicate your point, but they're not really letting you get a word in edgewise, or they are constantly or finished. They're constantly interrupting. Okay, so one thing is you when you go into that type of dynamic, you have to know who and what you're dealing with. You have to know your audience. And sometimes you might need to pick a different mode of communication. So, which is maybe a little bit unconventional in a way, but you might actually need to write them a letter if it really is a serious issue that you need to address. You might need to write it down. You may or you also may need to address, before you address what you're trying to address, you might need to address that. I really would like to talk to you about something, but typically when we talk, you tend to interrupt me, and I don't feel like you can hear me or I'm able to get my point across. Are you willing to have a conversation with me where you can really just listen? And I know that may not be easy, but I'm willing to help you if you're willing to do it. So sometimes it's addressing the concern before actually addressing what it is you're trying to talk to them about. Okay?
Anyone else?
Yeah. Are you sure? Okay.
Kind of piggyback off of her, but I want to throw another scenario in there. Like, what if there's a big age difference again,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and you have the older one trying to give advice to the young one, and the young one trying to, like, this is how,
I ain't trying to hear that.
going back and forth, and really nothing ever really never really get to a fully understanding because, you know, say for instance, if this person here is 60 and this one here is 25, you know, how do you communicate, especially when I'm looking at the older one has issues that they haven't really dealt with themselves from when he was a child, and the younger one like looking like at this like, you know, no, I see something totally different. Do that make sense?
Yeah, I hear you. Yeah, and I appreciate that context too. That's really helpful because you know what, and this is something that can happen even with me. When you said an older person, I automatically assume, oh, they're wiser, they know it. But you helped me to really understand, like, no, this person, they don't have their stuff together, and they over here trying to give this advice. So now the way you explain that to me, it sounds like you're aware of this situation and you're watching it. And are you looking for a way to intervene? Or, because I want to make sure I support you.
Okay, at this time, I mean, it's done deal. You know,
Okay.
passed on now.
Oh.
The young one's still living. But, you know, it never really, I talked to the younger one, and he basically knew where I was coming from, but I don't think they never really, you know.
Was able to connect. Yeah, I see.
And, as the younger one got older, he's looking at things a lot different than he did when he was 25 years old.
Right.
But still, you know, that there's still he's looking at it like, you know, this is something that maybe I need to talk to my son about. But now his son and him is basically going through the same thing.
Yeah. He's okay. Yeah. I see. Yeah. Actually, yeah, that's what I was picking up on. And so even though our children may be you know, wearing hoodies and earphones and all that, they're not dumb. Right? They're very observant and they know what's going on. As a matter of fact, I mean, I think the Bible says every generation gets weaker but wiser, right? So they're very aware. And so I think if I were to work with the father or the older person in there, it would be helping them to, one, find a place of completion with this this dynamic that is unresolved, and even encourage that would be actually in service to strengthening the dynamic with their son. And so for you, it would be encouraging for him to maybe even see it again, something that may not be as intuitive, but to say, you know, have you ever gotten this resolved? Because sometimes we can be in something and not even see it, right? And so because you can see it, you have the opportunity to gently say, and let me say it this way: spending time with somebody and investing allows you the space to be able to impart. But if there's no time and investment, even if it's your own child, then you thinking that you're going to give some type of input or provide some type of guidance, it's going to be hard to come by. Do you have anything to add? Okay. All right. Thank you.
Christina, you'll be our last one.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Okay. Yeah. Oh, wow. How old is your teen? 15? Your brother? Yeah. For 6 years? Yeah. So, one, I'm sorry that you're going through that and your family's going through that. So, tell me, have you had therapeutic support? Yeah. Okay. So, what is your question that you would like answered? Okay. Yeah. It's not going to be. But what you need to remember is that that soul, that child is still in there, right? But possibly your interactions are with the substance. Okay. And so, yeah, this is breaking your heart. Yeah. 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 So, and it sounds like not only is this your brother's son, but you've been a mother to this child. Yeah. So, so one of the things that can happen, which should happen, when we're in the body of Christ, is, well, we just need to pray him on in, right? Or whatever the case may be. I think the encouragement that I would offer to you is to find a way, in whatever way you can. Do you know where this individual is? Okay. You have all three kids. So, what we say in the work that I would do with kids is that every child needs at least, if they know they have just one caring adult, that thing will stay in the back of their mind no matter what they do or where they go or where they're at, right? And so we believe in the power of prayer, right? And we know that you pray for him. But if there's anything you feel like you need to do to just make sure he knows that when he is ready to do something different, to make a change, that you're right here. And if you've already done that, then that is what there is to do. Do you have anything to add? Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And so, yeah, I want you to know he knows that. Even though he's making choices. Yeah. Okay.
Let's give Cantice Burrell a great hand. And I want to do something right now. I want to pray. We want to pray as a family.